Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I've made similar videos to this before, but I'm going to specifically address this topic: how old is too old for phase 1 orthodontic treatment? And remember, if you haven't already taken my phase 1 course or watched my phase 1 playlist on YouTube, that there's 3 different factors that go into whether this should be a phase 1 case. You've got the dental age, the skeletal age, right, and the chronological age. So all 3 are going to go into whether this is phase 1 or comprehensive, or is it time to go ahead and start treatment. So just because the patient is 8 doesn't mean they're necessarily phase 1. Just because the patient is 11 doesn't mean they're necessarily comprehensive. A lot of things go into mind. So definitely watch those other videos first. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel because I've already done those videos. But the question is, what if you have a case where their parents are like really adamant that they only want phase 1 treatment? Maybe it's cost wise, maybe it's just time wise, or maybe they just don't want to make the commitment. Specifically, this came up with some doctors that I've been working with, where there was a case that we treat and plan together, 6 months ago. We said it was phase 1, and all of a sudden now it's comprehensive, like why? And then the parents are like, whoa, wait, how come now all of a sudden it's comprehensive and it's so much more money? So, as teeth start to come in, it's going to shift at some point from phase 1 to comprehensive. Sometimes it's borderline. But the risk for you, a lot of it depends on, what are you doing for the phase 1 treatment? There's a lot of things that can go on in phase 1 treatment. Phase 1 treatment might only be 4 braces. It might be 8 braces. It might be a set of expanders, just upper. It might be upper and lower expanders. It might be a growth modification appliance like Invisalign with MA, or a twin block to grow a lower jaw. It might be a appliance to grow the upper jaw to fix a deficient maxilla, to help fix a class 3 with some type of face mask headgear. I'm kidding all these scenarios here. It might be an appliance to open a deep bite. It might be an appliance to fix a habit or an open bite. Usually phase 1 is either braces or aligners only, or it's an appliance plus braces or appliance plus aligners. It's usually one or the other. Occasionally it's only an appliance, but very rarely. Because if you are expanding teeth, usually if you do it really, really early, before all the teeth have come in, if you expand teeth, they generally come in straight, but most people don't catch that, in time. And a lot of times when you expand, then the 7 through 10 or upper 2 to 2 is kind of all over the place, and we want to consolidate the spaces that we just created so that the upper 3s or 6 and 11 can drop down. So that's why we do a 2x4, or that's why we do phase 1 aligners after our expansion. So like I said, very rarely just only an appliance, because the whole point of phase 1 treatment is to fix the bite and to also get the front teeth straight and out of harm's way. Unless they just were magically straight and spaces were closed, then occasionally you don't need to do it, right? So, but that's a one-off. And if it's just a cosmetic issue after you've done the bite fixing, that's really between you and the parent. That's where I'm going to run it by the parents. I'm going to say, hey, look, we can do some braces here, or we can do some phase 1 quick aligners here to straighten, these front 4 teeth or these top and bottom 4 teeth, which is part of phase 1 treatment. But if we do this, you're going to have to also have a retainer, which is going to have to be worn until phase 1 starts, including at school, at least for a period of time. A lot of parents, since they know they're going to need phase 2 treatment anyways, if it's just something super minor and it's very noticeable, barely noticeable, they may opt not to do the braces or the aligners if it's not medically or dentally necessary. So that's a great conversation for you to have with the parents. They may just not want to deal with it, at that age. So obviously, this all factors into the pricing as well, and you don't always know if you're going to need that until later. So for me, phase 1 treatment is always going to include the braces or aligners. They don't get a refund if they choose not to do it, if we decide that it's not needed, because it's all included. Happy to do it if it's needed. It's not a big deal to put on 4 braces. It's so easy. So, but anyways, so I kind of went off on a tangent. How old is too old, and what can happen? So let's say, for example, there was this one case I saw a little while ago where, it was really borderline. Like 7 through 10 were already in, 23 through 26 were already in. And for those of you who are not in the US, that's upper and lower 2 to 2. They were fully in. The 3s were coming in. The 4s were in. Like the 5s were almost in. It was very borderline of phase 1 when we started it. But, at the time there was only 8 permanent teeth in, but all of a sudden we get started and all these teeth are coming in, right? Well, because it was a little bit on the late go, the 3s are already starting to come in before we finish expansion, so they're coming in bulkily. So if you can picture this, and I'm sorry I do not have a picture of this, but just picture, kind of straight front teeth, but canines that are erupted bulkily, like fangy, high canines, and pretty much everything's in but the 5s or the E's or A and J, and the baby, everything's in but the 5s, which is the second premolars. So once we finished, and the parents wanted straightening on 7 through 10 or 2 to 2, upper and lower, because that was part of phase 1. But the problem was, in order to do the straightening, there was no way for us to anchor it to the back teeth without also bonding the 3s and the 4s, the canines, and like pretty much putting all the braces on, top and bottom, which wasn't really what we had bargained for, because we had bargained for phase 1, which is just 4 braces, upper and lower, but there was just no way because of just the position of the canines. The wire just wouldn't have laid flat. So they essentially got free comprehensive braces for a phase 1 price. So that's the risk, And same thing with aligners. It can get to the point where we just can't only do 4. We're going to have to move all the teeth, in order to do this, which is phase 2 treatment. Maybe we're not doing the second molars, or maybe we're not dealing with the 5s, but we're doing most of the phase 2. Well, it just comes down to that this 6 to 12 month case is now a 18 to 24 month case, and you're doing braces for free on other teeth that they didn't pay for. So at that point, it's either you eat it and you just do it because you maybe misjudge if this was a phase 1 to phase 2, comprehensive case. It's all right. It's not a big deal. Just takes you a little, this is a nice gift for the patient. That's really nice. Or, you see if you can get them to flip to a comprehensive, kind of depends on where you are with insurance billing and stuff like that. It can get a little messy, especially if you didn't finish the phase 1. If it's a cash patient, it's really easy at that point. But that's their choice. They can't force them to do it, and you need to finish what you started. So that's the risk. That's pretty much what I want to get to. We can't always predict how the other teeth are going to come in. I can't promise that you can only do 4 braces or just a few aligners. If more teeth have come in, you're probably going to have to put the rest of them on for free. All right. Thanks so much.